Yo, this fragrance right here is a certified banger. But is it a good alternative to YSL's Tuxedo? We're going to find out today. But before we do, let's roll the intro. What's going on, guys? You are in the scent bubble, and I am your host for today. We're going to look at a special fragrance in my collection. I'm going to try to keep it balanced, between name brands and inspired houses. But today we've got a nice fragrance here from the house of MAISON Alhambra. Here we have Kismet for men. Now, this is supposed to be inspired by YSL's Tuxedo, which is a unisex fragrance. However, this fragrance is marketed towards men. And man, it's a goodie. We're going to go walk through a couple of comparisons and initial thoughts. You know how we do around here. So strap up, get your popcorn and a nice drink, and rock with me for about 15 minutes or so. So, how did I come in contact with this fragrance? There really isn't, a captivating story like some of my other videos on how I came across this. You guys know my story a little bit. Once I came across the fact that there are clones, dupes, and inspired buys in the fragrance world, which was new to me as of last year, I was completely mind blown. And so, like many of you, you get pissed off at YouTube because they recommend that one video that leads you down a rabbit hole of 100, 200, 300 videos where you are just absorbed into a subject matter. And for me, that was inspired buys. Now, after all of the internet that I scoured for various fragrances that were inspirations or interpretations of some of the legendary big dog fragrances, such as YSL's Tuxedo, I came across Kismet. Now, I've purchased several fragrances up until this point from the house. I have things like Toscano Leather. Looking at my collection, I have Woody Oud. And I have quite a few others around here hiding in the background. But I've known them to be a pretty solid house. I wouldn't say hit or miss, but probably I would say 70, 80% of the fragrances that I've researched beforehand have been, if not spot on to the inspired fragrance, definitely a banger worth picking up. Now, give me one sec. Let's grab a test strip. Okay. It helps when you're prepared before the episode, but you just can't get it all right sometimes. We are going to get an initial spray. I'm going to put it on said test strip as well as my wrist. We'll catch the wrist on the dry down later. Initial thoughts. Right in the air, before I even put my nose to the test strip, this thing is giving off sweet vibes. We're going to look into that a little bit further, but luxury and sweet is what I'm getting just in the air. This may be a beast mode fragrance, however, I'm not quite sure yet. Well, I do know, but I'm just saying as far as interpreting the initial sprays, it's definitely in the air, and you got a nice scent bubble before my nose even hits the test strip, which I can't say for many fragrances. We're going to hide the wrist till later so we can get a dry down. Oh my goodness. So I've had a lot of wear and tear on this fragrance, but I haven't worn it as of recent. I wanted to kind of get a fresh interpretation of this, and it smells exactly how I remember it. Man, this DNA is very unique. Not unique in the sense of like just at the heart of the DNA, it's nothing you've ever smelled before, but you'll know if you put your nose to Tuxedo, like this kind of luxury, high-end, classy, sweet, almost gourmandy type vibe, but it's still elegant at the same time. You don't smell like a cupcake, but at the same time you smell like an elegant man, that is appetizing to anyone smelling you. What do I smell specifically? Let's see if I can reach for some notes here. I think for sure amber is a part of this. Warm spices. Vanilla for sure. Like I think the gourmand quality here is definitely down the vanilla lane. So okay, vanilla, amber, spices. So probably your go-tos, your patchoulis. Um, hmm. That for me is the curb appeal that I'm smelling right off the test strip. Vanillic, ambery spices, but it's upped with an elegance because it's almost got this like powdery thickness to it. It's not like powder, but the fragrance has weight to it. Like it sits in the air with some substance, and it's not light. This is not a light and crisp fragrance. This is, hey, I'm in the room. I'm projecting what's good. Again, I don't know if it's quite like a ballroom filler or a room filler, but it might be a room filler, guys. This smells like something, I'm trying to think of the fragrance I was talking about earlier. Gary's Den. That definitely was a fragrance I sprayed in my room, walked out, and I could smell it in the hallway. I think the same would go for this. I think it's got pretty like above average projection. And yeah, let's go ahead and head over to the window mode so we can get a good breakdown here. Um, Now, as far as main accords, we have woody, warm, spicy, patchouli, vanilla. I left out woods. It's like I was saying in previous episodes, I feel like woods are in every single fragrance dang near. So I hate even bringing it up because I know for my nose personally, I'm still kind of learning, the differences between various woods and earthy tones. And so I don't like to just say woody because it's like, what the heck does that mean? All the different woods have varying flavor profiles or scent profiles. So I don't like just saying woody to you guys because I feel like it doesn't really indicate, like, you can't sit there at home and go, oh, woody, I know exactly what that smells like. But you do know vanilla, you do know spicy, you do know amber, that kind of, again, luxury sweet vibes. And let's just take a look here at the actual notes inside. Just in summary: woody, spicy, warm, patchouli, vanilla, spicy, earthy, powdery, balsamic. I get balsamic, don't get powdery, don't necessarily get earthy, definitely get everything from fresh and spicy upward. Let's see what the actual pyramid is showing. Okay, so on the top, we've got woodsy, nutmeg, which is going to be, I believe, sweet. Sometimes I like to click these just to refresh myself. So yeah, spicy, sweet facet with pungent base notes. So I definitely get spicy, sweet vibes up front as a dominant note. Maybe the woods is giving it a little girth as far as like the substance of the spicy sweet, not necessarily being crisp and fresh, but more substance to it. In the mid, we have patchouli, spices, more sandalwood, cacao, which I believe is maybe sweet and powdery. Let's see. Okay, so a warm, spicy gourmand with amber and balsamic nuances. So definitely get that balsamic vibe, like it's almost like a rich, I don't want to say syrupy, but almost like vinegar wine reduction vibes, but in a very sweet, ambery way. And the spice here isn't peppery. It's just a hint of spice, maybe like a 5-10% on this. It just kind of adds this punch, this kick to the fragrance where it's not just sweet down the gourmand route, but it's actually amped up by that spice, just a hint to kind of give it a maturity and an elegance to it. And the sweetness definitely doesn't just solely smell like vanilla. You definitely get like a vanilla tinge, that nutmeg, that cacao definitely punches through and changes the flavor profile of the vanilla, where you're still capturing, the sweetness, but it's a different kind of sweet. Again, that warm, spicy, tinged sweetness. Again, in the heart, we have coffee, which I don't quite smell, to be honest. The cacao, I can definitely get that. And then on the base, we got vanilla and vetiver. Don't quite smell the vetiver, but definitely the vanilla. Now, let's look at the original here, because I was taking a peek at this earlier. And if you look, let's just skip the notes on the top for a second. This is what kind of surprised me. A lot of people online said it is shocking how close this fragrance is to YSL's Tuxedo. But if you just looked at the top or the actual perfume pyramid here, we've got so many different notes that are non-existent in Kismet. You got the violet leaf, coriander, and bergamot up top, which is not like this at all. You've got, citrus, floral, and coriander. In the mid, we have this sweet rose, black pepper, and lily. And then on the base, we've got the patchouli, ambergris, and bourbon vanilla. So really the only symmetry here between the fragrances is going to be maybe some sweetness, where in the other fragrance was captured by amber. Let's see if amber is... Okay, so ambergris is the product of intestines of sperm whales. Wow, we're getting educated here, folks. With a skin-like salty warm effect synthetically created today, but it falls in the group of musk, amber, and animalic smells. So perhaps animalic-y sweet vibes coming from that note. But I say that to say maybe the black pepper is like is substituted in the other fragrance with the patchouli. But yeah, it does have amber, vanilla, spices vibes, but there must not be a giant presence of citrus and violet and all that stuff, because it must just be a very peppery, vanilla, amber, patchouli forwardness to it. Because when I look at this, I'm like, there's no way it could be inspired by or even a clone of Tuxedo with this note breakdown. But then, it kind of tells the story when you look at the main accords up top, because then you can kind of erase everything and say, okay, the rose, aquatic, freshness vibe is sitting more at the bottom of the accord in terms of amount. That's another difficult thing. You don't really know the amount of what they used here, but you can see that on the top as far as main accords, it's mainly patchouli, amber, and vanilla. Ozonic and fresh and spicy, warm, spicy, whatever. So I can see how the DNA could possibly be captured, but unless the ratios are similar to Kismet, I'm sure that Tuxedo probably has a different level of elegance and a different level of complexity. But again, like I said before, people say it's scary how close these are. So, you don't all, not everything is exactly what meets the eye. Sometimes, chemistry can change a lot. So I just trust everybody that this is pretty close to Tuxedo. I haven't smelled a sample of this, to be honest, because the fragrance is so expensive. The sample's probably, $20 for a sample, and it's not really worth the 1 ml. I'd rather run into this shopping at a Neiman Marcus or something, which I will do in due times. So yeah, this fragrance is absolutely awesome. We went through the note breakdown. Occasions. I feel like this is a cooler weather fragrance, just because it's so, I hate to say gourmand, so I'm just going to say it's so sweet and rich and somewhat powdery, that I feel like cooler climates would really accentuate this. However, I'm in Arizona. It's hot as heck. But even with that being said, if I'm in a cold room or I'm indoors for the day and I know it's climate controlled, I definitely throw this on because there's such an allure to it. I hate to use that word so much with fragrances in terms of like, I use terms like allure and charm to describe when a fragrance doesn't just smell good, but it actually invites the nose. It like draws you in. You want to walk towards that person and just bathe in the wafts. This fragrance, because of the powderiness that's kind of sitting behind it, and because of the vanilla, under all that, spicy, woodsy complexity, it has serious draw. And you pair that with the solid projection with this fragrance, oh man, you're going to want to find excuses for occasions to wear this. But definitely, I probably for sure, if I knew I was going to be outside in Arizona and it's hot as crap, this is not a freshie. This is not a zesty scent. I'm not going outside in hot weather with this, nor am I going indoors in fairly warm climate and wearing this. I'm not wearing this out on the water or on the beach or anything like that. I'm not wearing it at the bar unless it's cold. But yeah, this is definitely like cozy vibes. It's got romance to it. Or you can just be a solid single dude running up in there, drawing everybody's nose to your jacket. You know what I'm saying? I feel like this is even boozy for some reason. But yeah, that slightly spicy, over vanilla, balsamic, ambery, touch of powder vibe is what I'm trying to capture here. I'm trying to think of a food that I might eat that kind of captures this vibe, but hopefully the note breakdown was good enough for you. Maybe I'll think of something towards the end here. Projection and longevity in sprays. Again, this projects very well. I do think you can overspray this at a certain point, but I also think you can be pretty liberal with the sprays as well. It kind of sits in that 6, 7 out of 10 in terms of projection. Longevity, to be honest, I definitely get like north of 6 hours on this, solid. I think depending on the occasion, you might want to rock a decant or a little travel spray of this just to pop another spray or two on you if you plan on, being wafty all day. But definitely very solid projection. I wouldn't quite call this beast mode. And then the longevity seems pretty slightly above average, not quite beast mode. Sprays, if I'm wearing this out in public, I think 6 is going to be a safe bet. If you're somebody who's trying to draw people to you and be very intentional about that, I might go up to like 8, but I think 10's a bit much. This is it is a heavy scent despite not being beast mode in my opinion. And then for age, I think let's pull you guys out of the window mode here. I think for age, okay, I would say north of 25. This seems like a 30s and 40s fragrance. It has a youngness to it, like it doesn't smell old man, but it's definitely mature. I think if you're a young man approaching your 20s, you might get away with this, but you might have to do less sprays. Otherwise, it's going to kind of paint your character to be super mature. I don't think, it's not going to fit most young guys. I think 25 is going to be the starting point for me in terms of like, okay, you got some hair on your chest. You might want to rock this on the right occasion. Again, I think suit and tie. I think definitely date night, ballroom, cozy vibes, lounge, hookah bar type vibes. Yeah, definitely a romantic, alluring scent. I just get romance when I smell this. Not necessarily like you have to wear it when you're going on a date, but certainly cold weather, cozy, low key, not low key, mature vibes, mature setting. Don't throw this on if you're going to the movies with your girl. That ain't it. It's stepped up. It does have a maturity to it. Not necessarily like an age maturity in every occasion, but certainly a maturity of you better be doing something that grown people do when you rock this fragrance. Hopefully that was helpful for you guys. Final thoughts. I love this, man. Let me tell you, it fits a DNA that is not on any fragrance on my setup currently, and they did an amazing job with this. It does not smell synthetic at all. To me, in the opening, it doesn't even smell synthetic. It's not something you got to wait for the dry down for. I think the original Tuxedo is like $200-300, so it's up there in price. So to get this fragrance, I think you can actually get this fragrance less than $20 now. So, most inspired buys and stuff kind of sit around that $25 to $40 range entry level. This is a cheapie, man. I think you can pay like $18 for it before shipping now. And on certain sites, like before when I told you I got that deal on the last fragrance I bought on that Tarathi Blue, I got it for like $11. So you can probably on the right website get a steal on this for like $15, maybe 20 at the most. But I just think this is a no-brainer, guys. Even if you own Tuxedo and you want to preserve the bottle, you need to absolutely go for MAISON Alhambra's Kismet. Yeah, get this scent, man. Do you have Kismet? Are you wearing it? Where do you rock it? Let us know if you've interacted with this fragrance at all. And if you have any questions about it, I'd love to let you know. I've been rocking this for probably about a year now, maybe. So I have a lot of experience with it. The juice, I haven't rocked it, you know, a buttload because I've got like 40, 50 fragrances and I'm kind of a newbie in the game, so I'm giving them all proper respect. But as you can see, there's a good amount of juice gone there. You know what I'm saying? I've definitely been rocking it plenty of occasions, but you know, being in Arizona, I got to be very selective about when I rock this. But sound off in the comments, guys. Appreciate y'all for watching as usual. Appreciate y'all for rocking with me in the scent bubble. And until next time, y'all, be blessed. Peace.